Hey, hi, hello. My name is Debonair VT, but you can call me Bo. And today we're going to be doing a special submission video for the Disney DuckTales Double Decker, or Double Ducker, I suppose. um, I wanted to put together a cool little showcase for some of the cooler old NES platformers that I have played. And it just so happens that DuckTales, when I learned the speedrun for it, tends to take like less time than it would take to set up. So I figured one of the coolest ways to circumvent that major downside to this as a run is to strap the second game to the back of it. So this is going to be just like a cool showcase of a pair of old NES platformer games. If you are familiar with either of the speedruns, you will know that the timing strategies for each of them is a little bit different. We thankfully don't care about any of that. We're just going to start the timer when we click easy, and we're going to stop it when we defeat the final boss in DuckTales 2. So there's not going to be a ton to talk about with these games. As mentioned, they're old NES platformers, so you're kind of limited in the types of things you can do. However, there are some interesting movement options, let's say, that we can pull off, and we will be doing frequently throughout both games. Now, one other thing to mention is that if we game over in either of these, that's it. That's the end of the run. There's no such thing as a continue. We would have to do the entire thing over. So we're going to try to avoid that if possible, and hopefully the practice that I've been putting in will pay off. So without further ado, let's get started in 3, 2, 1, go! The very first thing we're going to do in DuckTales is go to the moon. We're going to the moon because we have to do the first and like only real difficult trick in DuckTales in this stage. And that is clipping into, I guess it's a door? It's kind of like a structure. That green thing over there, a box. We have to clip into it because if we don't, we're going to have to take forever to go do a side quest and stuff. And basically the way that we will accomplish this is we need to borrow this space cop here. And the space cop is going to punch us. And while we are in the damaged state, there is something about holding our pogo button and both down and right and pressing jump that will send us through the floor. It's pretty tough to get, and the reason that is the primary reason I do this stage first. It takes forever. Hey, we got it. There we go. It's very tough. I don't know exactly like if it's a frame perfect thing or anything like that. I just know that it's hard. I'm glad that we got it. So we're now gonna fight the first boss. All of the bosses in this game have 5 hits, and we are going to be doing our best to just deal with them as quickly as possible. This boss in particular is a real stinker sometimes. Its behavior is kind of erratic and a little rude. However, we were able to get there. Now, the other things that were happening on this stage that you've probably seen are some of the other big mechanics of the game. We are obviously hopping around on our cane basically everywhere. And that lets us, it's kind of our Mario jump. As you can see, if we jump into things and we're not pogoing, we will take damage. But if we are pogoing, it bounces us off of them and it keeps us safe. Other fun things that pogo does is it keeps us safe from spikes, and it kind of makes us jump a little bit higher, right? So we're going to be using this in a variety of situations like here to just try to get to the screen transition as quickly as possible. Now, most of DuckTales 1 is going to just be trying to move through screens as efficiently as possible. And there are a couple of places, like right there, that I am afraid of. There are strategies that you can employ to try to carry a string of bounce jumps all the way through. But as you might imagine, that's really scary for a game that might just kill you, and doubly so for a marathon run. So we take our time there, we avoid that B. This is a scene from the well-known franchise Indiana Jones, as you might know. It's kind of weird that they put it in this game, though. It's like a huge spoiler for the movie, but then it lies too. There's no ducks for the rest of the movie after the boulder happens. I don't know what they were thinking. Shout outs to Rally for that one. This is the second boss that we're fighting. There's nothing too special about this guy. The reason we do Amazon second, though, is the same reason that we do the moon first. It's scary. The platforming is a little scary. There is a high probability of getting messed up by some rude fellas. However, we were able to... Oh, I split a little late there. We were able to get through that no problem. So now we're going to Transylvania. This is... a stage that we will be revisiting in a little bit, and also is the one of the only levels where our goal early on is to just avoid that duck. That's Webby. She's like our niece or something. I don't remember. She might just be friends with Huey, Dewey, and Louie, but she's a yapper, and we don't want to talk to her because that takes a lot of time, so we have to avoid her. We did it this time, which is excellent. In DuckTales 2, there's a really difficult one where you have to avoid Webby as well. We're gonna hope that we get that one too. Although I haven't gotten it to date yet, so we'll see if that is even a possibility. This boss, I know her name. It's Magica, Magica Dispel or something like that. As you can see, she's magical. She flies around, she turns into a bird. Sometimes we can hit her, sometimes we can't. This is the last scary boss of this game, so pretty happy that we got through that without dying. Things are going pretty well. Oh, I split a little early. There we go. Now we are going to go to the Himalayas. Now this is a funny stage. This is a stage that made me go, wait, I know this music, right? Everybody knows the moon theme, because the moon theme is classic internet memery. But this is also a song that I presume a lot of people know. And it is because this is the stage music for one of the I Wanna Be the Guy stages. And I didn't realize just how much music from this game is in that game. So shout outs to I Wanna Be the Guy runners. That game is hard, and it's really fun to watch when people play it quick. But yeah, we're doing obviously just a lot of platforming here. The ice helps us out a little bit. We can kind of slide a little bit forward. And we also can jump into a crevasse, and in doing so we skip a significant portion. I think it's like 4 or 5 screens of running to the right so that we can get to where launch pad is, and then once we see the boy, we're kind of free to do whatever else we want to do, going back to the left. This is a very slow boss fight, but we did get there. I'm very happy I picked up that health. That could have been spooky. Basically, taking that shortcut down the big hole saves us a little bit of time. It saves us a couple screens. So now we're done with the Himalayas, and we're going to go to the African mines. Now, this is an interesting stage because when you first get here, you have to talk to this duck, who tells you need to get a key. That's in Transylvania. We're going to take a route that we didn't take last time we were here to get said key. And if you tried to do this before, you wouldn't be able to get it. Like, it doesn't make sense to try to do this until you have to go to the mine. But now we have the key, which means we can finish up this stage. There's really not a lot to talk about, except for that box that just popped up behind us. I've gotten stuck behind that before. If you're not fast enough going through that screen, you can kind of just get smushed between that and the ground. It doesn't kill you, but you are stuck, and there's an enemy that's just flying around beating the crap out of you. It's really rough. But anyway, we're basically to the boss here. He's a creature. He's like the Slurms McKenzie guy, I guess, but like the king of them. So we're gonna hit this guy 5 times, and then we are going to see what happens when people get jealous of all the cash monies we have. But that is the boss of the last stage. Now we have to go do one more fight. You'll notice on the tracker up top there that we are slated to fight Dracula Duck. Now, if you had to take a guess, where do you think you'd fight Dracula Duck? If you guessed Transylvania, you'd be right. So that's where we're going to go. The game is going to tell us, we're going to get a message here that says, I've stolen all your treasure, and if you want it back, you better come to Castle Dracula Duck or something. Oh, we touched Webby. No, we're not saving that guy. We have to come back here so that we can fight Dracula Duck and get our treasures back. Now, this is going to be a running theme through these games. You will find that for a duck that treats his gold money like a dragon would, Scrooge loses important, expensive things quite frequently, actually. More frequently than one would suppose. Now, we're going to do some risky strats to fight this boss here. We can get a couple of hits on him by bouncing and taking damage. So we're going to try to do that. We do have the ability to heal ourselves, which I just did. If you have a minimum of $3 million in this game, and you press select, it will heal you all the way to max. And we're playing on easy, specifically. Oh, we didn't get a good jump there. We're playing on easy specifically so that we have 6 hits instead of hello. 6 hits instead of 3. And that's time for the first game. So we've completed DuckTales 1. We defeated our rival Flintheart Glomgold to get here. And now we are going to be popping that out and popping right into DuckTales 2. Now, DuckTales 2 is a little different. The music isn't quite as good as DuckTales 1. And we're going to go to a couple of different places. So the first place we're going to go is Niagara. You'll kind of notice between these two games that the stages in the first one are kind of like really generic, you know. Hey, let's go to the moon, right? Oh, Webby skip. No, we didn't get it. One of these days I'm going to get that and it's going to be great. But until we do, we'll just continue to be sad about it. The stages in the first one are, you know, they're kind of normal. Everybody knows them. It's the Himalayan mountains, going to the moon, the literal moon, all kinds of stuff. In this game, we're kind of visiting some other very, very well-known landmarks. The first of which here is Niagara Falls. This stage I do first because this platforming is really scary. You can do that whole segment without stopping. But that second bird has dealt me a bad hand more times than I care to admit. And now we're done with the first stuff that is scary. And we're going to start seeing... this game introduces a new mechanic that you've already kind of seen, which is hanging onto those rings above us. We've always kind of been able to do this golf swing. We had to do it one time in Transylvania. Well, I guess twice, but once per visit to Transylvania to get past a guy. And now we have this hanging mechanic, and the hanging is going to be very important for us for a pretty long time, because it is they designed really heavily around that being a new interesting thing for Scrooge to do in this game. The other interesting thing that they did here is they instead of having the chests always spawn in the center, they now spawn on one side or the other. So remember how I said we were going to go to some well-known places? Everybody knows about Scottish castles, right? So that's what we're doing. We're going to a Scottish castle. And this stage introduces these moving platforms that we have to respect. Unfortunately, we can't cheese them too much, and there is a block with a down arrow there that we'll talk about a little bit later. We don't do anything with them in this stage, but when we go to one of the later stages, we will. The other new thing that they added, and I think this is new, I'm going to say this as though it is new, so I hope it is the ability to grab things with your cane by pressing a direction and holding it. You just saw me do it there to pull a switch, and we're going to be doing that a couple more times. It allows us to move certain objects, kind of like pulling a block in a Zelda game or something like that. And we're gonna be employing that every once in a while. Now, a big thing to remember is that we are taking the critical path through all of these levels, because we really don't want to spend more time than we need to because it's a speed run. But all of these stages have a ton of stuff that you can explore and do. There are multiple problems for you to solve in each one. And for us, for our purposes, though, we are just going as quickly as possible. Now we've got this guy. I don't know what this guy's problem is. He kind of looks like he could be like a Taco Bell wizard, and I'm kind of down with that. But it's just a Wizrobe fight. He's gonna show up in 2 places and then show up in 1 place, and we just have to hit him. If we miss one, it's really sad. He's giving us a fine pattern so far though. And that's that. That's the whole fight. So that is Scotland done. Now, remember what I said about well-known locales. So next, we're going to the Forgotten Isle of Mu. Now you may be saying, I thought you said well-known. Well, I might have lied a little bit. But the Isle of Mu is this lovely little tropical place where we get introduced to one of the coolest crab enemies in any game, and one of the worst enemies that I've ever seen. And that's those Moai heads. They're horrible! They look like the Chad meme. Anyway, I don't know why they decided to name this Isle Mu when they clearly have some kind of duck thing going on. I feel like they could have named it Quack, and it would have been far more successful and maybe wouldn't have fallen to ruin. Who am I to say? We are going to be doing everything that we can to just get through this quickly. There is a little bit of some scary stuff coming up, and it's going to be a moving platform that has some of these rings that we have to grab on. It's not the scariest section like this in the game, this here, but there is one worse one that we actually do far later into the run for reasons. But this one it's not too bad, you know. This boss, however, this boss is rude. This boss is a rude gentleman. He can do 2 attacks. He can either drop rocks on you or he can shoot his hand at you. If he drops rocks on you, you can shoot the rock back at him and get a hit off. The way that we want to take this fight is we want to, as long as there is a rock on screen, the boss doesn't know how to move because it is expecting that you will, it's expecting that you are going to do the thing to hurt it. I goofed there a little bit. I needed to save that. As long as there's a block on screen, the boss can't run away. He can't go to the other side. So he will basically always make a new block. And as long as you have blocks, you can deal damage, and you can make that go pretty quickly. Previously, I didn't think there was a way to influence that, and boy howdy did I hate that fight. But it's not quite so bad anymore. And now that we've finished with ancient civilization, we're going to go to Egypt. Because surprisingly, we did not go to Egypt in DuckTales 1. You kind of feel like, you know... Yeah, I feel like, wasn't there a whole mummy shtick in the theme song? You'd think that would be a place that they would try to go. But nope, it was not the case. So instead, we are going to just be going through Egypt in DuckTales 2 instead. There is really not a lot to this level, aside from this mystery block, which I mentioned before. Now, this one in particular makes these little platforms show up. They all kind of give you a little, kind of like a Mega Man jump path like that, which is pretty fun. I like it. In our case here, though, we really are only using it to kind of take that secret exit. As mentioned before, like there's a ton of stuff that we are just skipping because it's way slower than anything else, and that is part of that. So now we are like basically at the boss room, and we have encountered another new mechanic, which is hanging onto things on the ceiling. Pretty nifty. This boss can be a little rude. We're gonna, oh, I can't heal. All right, we're just gonna take a death there. That's fine, that's fine. We've got 2 more, and thankfully in this game, it spawns you right back in the room that you were in. In DuckTales 1, it spawns you at the last time that you talked to Launchpad. So number 1, you would have to have found Launchpad, which is sometimes its own feat. All right, there we go. This boss is the one that gives me the most trouble, despite me disliking the Moo boss more than this. And now we're going to go to the Bermuda Triangle, because that's a classic tourist destination, isn't it? We are trying to get specific treasures in this game as well. Now this may look like we're talking to a duck that I said we didn't want to talk to. And you'd be right, except that there's literally not a way for us to progress in the level unless we talk to that duck. I don't know which one that is either. I don't know what I don't know which one is named what. or what color their shirts are or anything. But now we are in a pirate ship in Bermuda. So what we are going to be doing here is just getting through the ship as quickly as we can. This stage has the scariest platforming section, and it is right here. So what we need to do is we have all of these birds. Now, we've seen these birds before, right? We saw them in Niagara, but they have something in Bermuda. They have these shells. I'm going to actually wait for this one. Thank you. The shells will always drop right in front of you. And so while you're doing the platforming in that section, you have to be mindful of the fact that those shells can drop at any point in time. And if you are moving forward, you are very likely to get hit. It's really nerve-wracking. Can we get... Oh, I didn't get this trick. If you jump off of the rope there, you can do a little bounce to get a little bit of extra height. And if you do it fast enough, you can avoid that shell entirely, which is very nice. But yeah, those birds are rough. Obviously, when you're hanging onto those platforms or those the rings in the wall, if you fall, that's it. You're toast. So it's extra nerve-wracking. Now we're fighting Gold Duck Roger. Any One Piece likers in the chat? That is what the D stands for. So, you know, Monkey Duck Luffy. Just saying. You can draw that for free. You're allowed. But yeah, now we're done with Bermuda, and that is the last stage for this game. So the only other thing that needs to happen is now we learn that Webby has been kidnapped and we have to rescue her. And our rival Flintheart Glomgold is here again to ruin our day. And when you know that he would obviously go back to the same ship in Bermuda we just were, if that don't take the whole cake. So there's not really any level to get here, unlike Transylvania. Now we're just going to see a little bit of a cutscene where Flintheart Glomgold requests all of our treasures and then absorbs them into himself, ? And he turns into the T-1000, which is obviously a Terminator reference. And he's dead. And that's time. So GG's. Thanks for hanging out. While we played. Oh, I guess it's the D-1000 instead of the T-1000. See, the reference is working. The treasures all sank into the ocean, except they didn't, and we'll see that in a second. This has been the, what did I call it at the beginning? The Disney DuckTales Double Decker. And I hope you had as much fun watching this as I did playing it. These are both very fun games, and I think they have, they collectively have they can fill a pretty cool spot in a marathon block. The risk is always there because, I mean, you saw I took a death. I was only 2 deaths away from this being a wholly invalid run, basically the entire time. Because as mentioned, there are no checkpoints. If you die, that's it. But yeah. This is probably going to be the kind of estimate that is, you know, I'm expecting maybe like 25 minutes for this. Gives us a little time to set up, a little time to yap. And I feel like that is a great little chunk of time to show off some very cool old NES platformers. So thank you all so much for watching. Thanks for considering this cool little game mashup for the event. I have had an absolute blast learning and iterating on these old school platformer games, and I've been having a great time sharing them with everybody. So thanks for your consideration, and until the next time that I see you, remember to be kind to yourself and love one another. Thanks, y'all.